Hiya, and welcome back to Dawn Chorus, the game that teaches us that. Sure, let's go with that. I do not have the patience today, and yet, here we are. So let's do this. We got a speed run, and we are Arvo normal. It hurts my heart. It hurts my heart seeing Lake. We're just speed running. Wait, which is this? Do we ask Devin for help or try finding the key ourselves? Find the key. For now, I prefer to look for it myself. I don't really look forward to having to pay for a lost key. Rune nods with a serious face. Okay, then help you look for it if you want. I exhale, deflating as most of the tension leaves my body, as if a heavy stone was lifted from my shoulders. Instead, I can feel my cheeks getting hot. That's Rune offering me his help, after all. Did you go anywhere other than your room after lunch? No, straight to my room. Could be somewhere on the way to the cafeteria. Let's go there then. You've probably dropped your key somewhere there and now you're worrying about nothing. Rune shoves the key into his pocket and starts walking alongside me. The silence between us starts to feel a bit uncomfortable. Rune must have sensed that as well because he is the first to break it. So, Arvo, you moved here from Finland, yes? Why? I don't really want to go into details right now, so I just recite the same answer I tell everyone. I wanted to study cognitive science, and I looked for the universities with the best reviews. It was just a coincidence that the best one I could still get into was in Norway. I look at Rune to see that he is looking back at me, expecting me to continue. But I'm happy with how things went. And I much prefer living in a dormitory than staying with my parents. Oh yes, dormitories are nothing fancy, but they sure are fun. I've lived in a dormitory during my first 2 years in the university, and frankly, I regret moving out. Why did you do it then? I wanted to have a room on my own. You know, roommates often get in the way of stuff. He winks at me again. My imagination starts running wild about what kind of stuff he might mean. So, you have your own flat now? Yes, I'm living alone. I'm renting a flat close to the shore. It's nothing special, but boy, you should see the views I have from there. I love living there so much. That doesn't mean I didn't love living in the dormitory, though, just for very different reasons. Meanwhile, we arrive at the door to the cafeteria. Rune opens the door and holds it open for me, gesturing for me to come inside. Just minutes ago, the cafeteria was bustling with students. Now it's eerily silent. Tables are still covered with checkered tablecloths, gleaming in the sunlight filtered through the windows. Looks like the sun came out from behind the clouds for a moment. Even though it's only a while after noon, it already is low on the horizon. We're above the Arctic Circle, after all. The eeriness of the empty cafeteria and the Arctic sun makes it all seem like a scene from a film. Especially with Rune entering the room and looking around slowly, the warm light highlighting his silhouette. The sudden sound of the door closing after us echoes in the room, startling me. For a moment, I forget why we were even here. I snap out of my daze and start to look around instead. But to no avail. This is the table where we were eating, but I don't see the key. Are you sure you even had it with you when we were here? I'm not sure of anything now. I think so, but I didn't check. Still, I don't know where else could I lose it. Rune walks up to the window, taking a look outside before turning again to me. I think that going to the reception desk is the only option you have. I say nothing, but I know that he's right. I walk up to the window next to him and lean on the windowsill. The sun already hid behind the clouds again, and the snowfall still continues. I look sideways and see Rune looking through the window at some point in the distance. He must have noticed me looking, though, because he turns towards me. What's up? Ask Rune about him helping you, or thank Rune. We're gonna ask Rune or thank Rune. Thank you, Rune. Just thinking how nice it was of you to help me. The snow forms white caps on trees and covers everything in sight. If I opened the window, cold Arctic wind would bring some inside too. I could extend my arms and watch how the snowflakes melt in my fur, or get stuck between my whiskers. Thank you for coming here with me. I was really starting to panic when I noticed I've lost the key. No problem at all. I couldn't leave you like that in the corridor. Come on now, we should talk to the receptionist. I nod and we both leave the empty cafeteria in silence, heading towards the entrance of the building. My paw pad taps out a nervous rhythm on the wooden counter. The closer we are to talking to someone from the staff, the more anxious I get. Having Rune here with me helps a bit. I glance sideways and see him leaning on the counter, deep in thought. He notices me looking and turns towards me too. Don't worry, everything will be fine. He gives me an earnest smile that could melt ice. But before I have a chance to embarrass myself, the janitor emerges from the utility room. The janitor opens some ledger, and meanwhile Rune leans in and whispers, See? Everything will be fine. The janitor puts the phone on her ear and starts to explain the situation. I switch my attention from her to Rune. I got pretty worked up over this, didn't I? But I'm feeling fine now, in a huge part thanks to this big guy. I don't think that he was lying when he told me that he likes me. I mean, why would he? But everything about this situation still feels surreal. From losing the key to him helping me. A lot of different thoughts are swirling around in my head now. Maybe I am still sleeping now. Maybe I came back to the dream from before somehow. Are you sure you want to wait for me here? Rune leans in closer and looks me straight in the eyes, corners of his mouth curved upward in a slight smile. Arvo, you worry way too much. Rune looks at me with concern. What are you going to do now? I don't have an answer to his question. I don't have any idea what to do now, apart from finding another room to stay, of course. I need to think. I'll go outside for a moment, maybe take a short walk. Okay, I'll let you think alone then. I promised Devin that I'll go keep him company in the swimming pool, so I'd better go too. I can't help but feel a growing uncomfortable feeling in the pit of my stomach. An unbearable loneliness. I actually hoped that Rune would suggest that I can move to his room for tonight. We've just talked for the first time just an hour ago. He was already so kind to me and helped me a lot, and it would not be okay for me to ask for any more. I don't even know if he has a free bed in his room. I doubt that he has a roommate, because he was living alone with Coach at lunch. Sitting alone with Coach at lunch, but he might have a single room like me. Despite that, I am still feeling down. Oh, wait! You don't have anything warmer than this with you, don't you? I shake my head. All my belongings, apart from my camera and now this prized bathroom kit, are back in my room. But I'll be fine, I won't be there for long. Are you sure? That flimsy scarf alone won't fend off viruses. Agree with Rune or go anyway. We're gonna die! Ah! You might be right. Catching a cold at the very beginning of the camp would be a shame. I'll take a walk around the guest house instead. Now, I have a coat that I certainly won't need in the pool. Come with me. Rune starts walking without looking back. I stand there, rooted to the spot I'm standing in, processing his words. Wait! We walk along the corridor and Rune stops before one of the doors, room number 6. He takes a key out of his pocket, opens it, and enters the room. Through the open door, I can see most of his room. It seems a bit smaller than mine, and there is only one bed, as big as the one in my room. So even if he wanted to, he couldn't let me move here. This thought comforts me, even though it doesn't solve any of my problems. Here you are. You can hang on to it until at least dinner. I won't need it before then for sure. Rune hands me his coat, and I put it on right there. It's a trendy-looking black parka from the South Face. It's too big for me, obviously, but it's warm and comfortable, soft and fluffy on the inside. That should do. You look good in it, you wild tiger. Rune snickers, watching me with his arms crossed, leaning against the doorframe. Thank you, Rune. I really appreciate it. See you later. See ya. He winks at me and closes the door after him. Oh, what a day. While my head is busy with various thoughts, I already got back to the lobby. The janitor lady is again at the desk, so I greet her before continuing. Good thing I got the coat from Rune. I would feel much colder without it. I hide my snout inside the oversized parka. It smells faintly of Rune. It's a really pleasant smell. It reminds me of the forest, but with a hint of jasmine. It's a bit like I'm being snuggled by him. This thought alone immediately makes me feel warmer. We're feeling really uncomfortable. Ah, fuck. Ah, fuck. We're gonna hang out with Jorgen and Travis for this. We're gonna ask Jorgen about his book. Agree with Travis. Go to Miko's room. We like it. And then go to the swimming pool. Rune told me to look for him and Devin there. We just came to swim. Well, I do, but back in my room, and that doesn't help me much at the moment. I'm gonna pull up the sensor because I don't fucking trust it. We're gonna take another peek. The water could be warmer, but I don't want to miss the views while I can enjoy them. Discreetly, I take another curious glance at Rune, this time less concerned about being caught. There's nothing inappropriate about admiring such a physique anyway, is there? His fur clings to his body soaked with water, which only makes the outlines of his muscles more prominent. He's really well built. He must work out a lot, and it definitely shows. There's not much fat on him, but enough to make him look bulky. More bulky than ripped. The white fur on his belly looks smooth and soft. I look up at his snout. I don't know how old he is, but he looks as if he was no older than me. His antlers give him a distinguished look. I wonder how it would be to have the pair. I for sure would have to give up wearing sweaters. Rune turns towards me and our eyes meet for a split second and we both look away. Ha! Was I just imagining things or was he trying to take a peek at me too? Hey, were you just checking me out? Yes. Ha! Sorry, Professor, I've lost the key to my room. Coach raises an eyebrow, visibly taken aback. But I've sorted it out already. I have talked with the receptionist, and they asked me to move to another room for the night. We were booty butt naked. Oh, by the way, Arvo. Any luck with the key? No. I'm gonna tag along with Rune and Coach. We liked it. No need to be so formal, you can call me Devin. Okay, thank you, Devin. If you ever need someone to show you the city, Arvo, you know where to look for me. By the way, Arvo, do you have a Disharmony account? Oh yeah, sure. We exchange our usernames and Rune sends me a message saying, hi. Not what I expected from him. But do I really know him at all yet? His avatar is just his face cropped onto a cover art of an album I've seen before, but I haven't listened to it yet. I can't remember its name, but it's easily recognizable, a leafy pattern forming an optical illusion. It feels really nice to see his face in my contacts. Rune's room. We're just hanging out with Rune. We got bitch slapped. I stand up. I nod standing up from the bed. You can go there now, but better not keep him waiting. I'll go check out if anything is happening anywhere else and we can catch each other later. Good idea. Again, sorry that it ended up like this. Don't sweat it, it's fine. We leave the room together, and this time Rune doesn't lock the door either. Well, I guess there would be no point in that. There are only other students and faculty members here. I wish I thought about that before locking my door. After this, I'll go to the common space to check if there's anything happening there. If you'd like to join me, feel free to do so. I don't know what I'll do yet, so if we don't meet there, have fun. I will for sure. There's one huge secret to enjoying life that you should remember wherever you are and whatever you're doing. Try to remember always just to have a good time. It sounds simple, but once you remember that, life gets easier. Take care! Yeah, you too, Rune. Are we checking the sauna and swimming pool or the common space? I can't remember. To the common space. Rune told me that he would be in the common space, so that's where I direct my steps next. Damn it, Torolf. Try the piano. Rune. After a moment of hesitation, I leave my telescope and look around, searching for Rune. Finally, I spot him on the other side of the terrace. He's standing alone next to his telescope, looking at his phone, probably trying to use the sky map as well. I walk towards him, careful not to bump into any of the groups. He must have sensed me approaching because he looks up from his phone and turns in my direction. He smiles slightly, greeting me with a raised paw. Hey, Arvo, is everything okay? Yeah, well, almost. I didn't really bother familiarizing myself with the app before the lesson, and I thought it would be easier to use. I don't really know where to start. You're unlucky then, because it's also the first time I've used it. But don't fret, this doesn't look too complicated. Look, if I point it at the sky, it shows exactly that portion of it on the screen. Rune lifts the phone up and looks through it at the night sky. The image on the phone follows his moves, displaying the part of the sky behind it. I guess it must use my location data. Current data now are in the built-in compass. It's pretty neat. There's a search symbol here. Let's try that. Oh, there's a category for solar system. This looks really simple, actually. Rune slowly turns around, holding his phone in front of himself, before he stops suddenly with the phone pointed somewhere behind me. Aha! Here's our Saturn. That was easy. Okay, now your turn. Just open that menu on the right, click on search, choose solar system, and then Saturn. And the app will point you to it with an arrow. Huh. That does sound simple. What does Saturn doing? Oh no. I guess I should have tried figuring it out myself first, but then would I ask Rune about the room? I take out my phone and unlock it and launch the sky map again. It takes a while before it loads. My phone isn't exactly a current model, though it's not old either. There isn't even much menu diving. Looking for solar system planets indeed turns out to be very straightforward. I choose Saturn and the app displays an arrow pointing me in its direction. I lift my phone and rotate it until Saturn finally appears on the screen. Looking away from the phone, I can see the same pale dot shining in the night sky. Captivating, isn't it? I had no idea night sky could look like this. Didn't really look at it much lately. Usually in the city you can't see much other than the moon. Takes me back to my childhood, actually. In autumn, when the days get shorter and shorter, I often would stay out late just to lie on a hill and watch the starry sky. Back in Finland, you were living in a small town, right? Yeah, and there was a little light pollution there. What about you? Where were you living before you went to university? I grew up in Anslo. I'm a city boy, unfortunately. Unfortunately, count yourself lucky. As you get older, you discover that there's not much to do in a town like this, especially during winters. Lots of youth pick up playing instruments as their hobby, just to have something to do. For example, Miko. He was working in a music store in a nearby town to earn some money for his gear, and then played around with it for entire days. Maybe you're right, but growing up in a city and in a small town has its good and bad sides for sure. But I still imagine there must be the sense of freedom when living in a small town surrounded by nature. I bet you spent your childhood playing in forests, running around your friends' houses, doing whatever you felt like. All those evenings spent lazily walking around the lakes, going on trips around after school with my classmates. Yeah, there were some good times. Although my parents were always rather restrictive and kept me inside and did the house most of the time. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That couldn't have been much fun. You know how it is to spend your childhood at home. So, now that we know where Saturn is, do you want to take a closer look at it? We can continue later. Now we have an occasion to see something extraordinary. Right, so how do I do this? I never used a telescope before, but this can't be too hard. Let's see. This looks like a regular tripod. I'll loosen the lock knobs and point it roughly in the right direction. This smaller scope must be a finder to help point the telescope exactly where we want. He moves the telescope while looking through the finder, then makes fine adjustments with some knobs before finally looking into the telescope. I got it! Oh wow, this is so cool! The image isn't very sharp, but I can see the planet and its rings. Here, take a look. I lean in and look into the telescope. In the middle of the image, there's a rust-colored orb with a ring around it. I was expecting it to look like a flat image, but it's very real and three-dimensional. The planet casts a shadow on one side of the rings. There's a thin shadow of the ring on the planet itself, too. It's not too big, but I can see it very clearly. Impressive, isn't it? Much more than I imagined. How are you two doing? Do you need any help? No, thank you, Professor. We're doing fine. Glad to hear that. If you have any problems, I'm here to help. Actually, we already found Saturn through the telescope, Professor. Oh, that's great. That's all I had planned for this lesson, so you're free to play around with the telescope now if you want. Rune glances at his watch, scratching his neck with the other paw. Okay, so we're pretty much done here. There's still some time before supper, so we can stay here for a while. Actually, there's something I wanted to ask you. Yes? I gulp loudly. Okay, better to get it over with. I don't yet have a room to sleep in tonight. Would you be okay with sharing a room with me? You haven't found anything yet? Rune stares somewhere in the distance, furrowing his brows. He stays like that for a few seconds before looking back at me. You know that I only have one bed in my room. I know, but I don't really mind. I've had my fair share of sleepovers in my life. I enjoyed spending time with you today, so I thought I'd ask you. Or are you trying to get in my bed? Quite literally! Rune chuckles and I can feel my cheeks getting hot. Rune seems to possess a concerning ability to leave me speechless. Now, just joking again, Arvo. You know what? Why not? This is actually pretty exciting. Maybe you've had your share of sleepovers, but I rarely had guests. So share! That was more stressful than I thought it would be. But now all the tension I felt dissipates and I exhale with relief. My breath turns into a white cloud between us in the cold air. I didn't think that would actually work. Thank you, Rune. No problem. Want to look for more planets while we still have some time? The update was for Patreon only. It was a Patreon only update. Okay, looks like our time here's up. Thank you all for attending the lesson. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe even gained a new passion. Supper's already waiting for you in the cafeteria. You're free to take it with you and eat anywhere you like. Have a good night, everyone. Rune, I need you to stay here a little longer. I'll catch you later in the cafeteria. Sure, I'll be there with Arvo. Looks like we're done here. That was pretty fun, wasn't it? We walk back towards the guest house, joining the small crowd of students heading to the cafeteria. Wasn't really interested in stargazing before, but that was a nice experience. Too bad we don't have such a nice night sky back home. Gradually I started to consider the campus I live at to be my home, rather than the house I grew up in. I think that with a telescope you still should be able to see a lot. That sky map is really a useful thing. Without it, I wouldn't even know what I was looking at. We're among the first ones to enter the cafeteria. On one of the tables, individual paper plates with food are stacked on top of each other. Looks like each of us got a sandwich and a slice of some cake. Small bottles of still water are standing in rows next to the plates. Want to eat here? Yeah, why not?
It's time to drink water.
We each grab one plate and a bottle
It's
of
time
water
to drink
and sit at
water.
one of the empty tables in the corner of the room opposite.
It's time to drink water.
There's no lamp above the table, which I'm happy with as my
It's
eyes
time
got
to
just
drink
a low
water.
light when we were stargazing. I still find it weird that you eat breakfast food at night. Wait, what do you mean at night then? What do you eat at night then? Nothing really? I mean, we eat dinner and then maybe a light snack. Wait, what? Hang on. I fucked up. And then maybe a light snack later if we're hungry. Huh, I had no idea. Wait, what? Who wouldn't want to finish their day with some nice sandwiches or a bowl of cereal? Rune, I am concerned. Cereal before bed? That's crazy. Yeah, I actually agree. There's some madmen who do that, though. Me, I'm the madman. I do that. Sometimes. I do that sometimes. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Thankfully, we got something more substantial here today. I brought some meal replacement drinks with me in case the food would be subpar, but it looks like the university really found a great guest house this year. Oh, not you two. What's up with everyone buying these lately? It's just convenient. I don't use them at home. I just keep it back in the cupboard for trips. Who else uses them, though? Miko, but he has them almost every day. Yeah, him, frankly, I would have never guessed. I'd be wary of having them often. It's not really whole food. What about phytonutrients and antioxidants? Yeah, anyway, I hope we come here next year, too. I quite like it. I quite like it here. I look down at the plate in front of me, taking a closer look at the food. Then I notice the shade of Rune's antlers between me and him on the table, and I look up at him. He's leaning against the table and looking at me with his green eyes. Still can't believe he actually agreed to let me sleep in his room tonight. And it's just because later I would regret not asking. But I was sure he would decline. Rune, when you think of home, do you see the place you live in or the house you grew up in? Huh? That's a serious question. Why do you ask? I don't know. I just noticed that I'm starting to think of the campus as my home. And it was a bit of a surprise for me. And I really thought about it, but now that you mention it, I think that my home is where I have my belongings, my laptop, my guitars, my pens and knives, everything I use. So if I arrived here with most of those, I took a part of my home with me. I don't get attached to places that much. I don't feel anything when I visit my old neighborhood. No nostalgia, no regret, no longing, nothing like that. Maybe it's just too early for that. How long ago did you move away from home? 4 years. That's enough time to make you feel distanced from that place. When I visit my parents, I feel more like a guest than a person living there. How about you, though? You only left this year, right? Yeah, but I haven't visited my parents since then. We write messages to each other from time to time, but surprisingly, I don't miss them yet. Rune nods, his paws entwined in front of him on the table, listening to me with a slight smile on his lips. By the way, we're waiting for Devin, yeah? You can start eating if you want, he won't mind. I'm finally done. Yeah, speak of the devil. What are you doing? I had to move all the telescopes back to the guest house. We couldn't just leave them on the terrace, could we? You should have told me. I would have stayed behind and helped you out. You think moving a few telescopes is too much for me? Of course not. Or if I'd helped you, you would have finished quicker. Yeah, it's fine. It didn't take me long anyway. Devin sits down next to Rune, putting his paper plate on the table in front of him. He and Rune start eating, so I grab a sandwich too and take a bite. What does this taste? This definitely isn't cheese. Oh yeah, I was waiting for your reaction. So you never tried Brunost before? So that's what it is. I've seen it in stores, but I never bought any. It's sweet but savory and salty too. Kinda nutty, but has an aftertaste similar to caramel. I don't think I'm a fan, but maybe that's because I expected the taste of cheese, and that's something very different. Yeah, it's a very Norwegian thing. It takes some time to get used to for sure. I'd rather have regular cheese, to be honest. But thankfully there's an apple cake too. Nice. I was craving something sweet since Rune ate all the blueberries at dinner. So, how did you like the lesson? I enjoyed it a lot. It was both informative and fun. Oh no. Yeah, Professor Arne seemed like a good teacher. He is a cool guy, although once he starts talking,
I forget
he
to
often
say it
gets
last
so carried
stream,
away
but
it's
when you were
impossible to
rolling
end the
around at the
conversation.
speed of sound for Frasier part in Cleaved, I think I'm disappointed that the line of Frasier is not different. I think it should be the difference the two route.
I also thought he was cool. It was really nice of him to let you take part too. I used to go stargazing a lot, but never with the telescope. It was really interesting, much different than seeing photos of the sky. I finished the sandwiches quickly during the conversation and finally take a bite of the apple cake. The sweet and tart flavor of ripe apples fill my mouth. Oh, this is much better. The crust is perfectly baked and crumbles easily, and the hint of cinnamon enhances the flavor. They really know how to cook. Yeah, the apple cake is nice. Oh, Arva, almost forgot. You found a room for today? Yes, Rune agreed to let me stay in his room. Devin looks at Rune surprised. Rune, really? Wait, don't you only have one bed in your room? I do, but it's not a huge deal. Ah, I see. So anyway, I'm done eating, and I'll better get going. It's already pretty late, and we all need to get up early tomorrow. Good night, both of you. Night, Devin. Good night, Devin. Are you done, Arvo? All finished. We should get going too, then. The cafeteria is mostly empty by now. We took so much time talking that everyone's save for two small groups of students I don't know left already. We throw our paper plates out and leave the cafeteria together, walking alongside each other this time. The lights on the guest house are dimmed, giving the corridors a sort of quiet, intimate feel. Try to step as lightly as possible not to disturb this calmness. Rune quickly starts a conversation, though, starts telling me about living in Anslo, and I in turn talk about how it was living in a small Finnish town. Okay, here we are. Rune opens the door to the room and lets me in first. Rune didn't change in any way since my last visit here, and yet it feels somewhat different now. Probably it's because now I know I'll be spending the night here. I'm still just a guest, but this time I look around to familiarize myself with the place where I'll be sleeping today. You don't have too much stuff with you, do you? You can put the camera bag just anywhere, I don't mind, and hang your coat next to mine. I put the bag down onto the desk and next to Rune's books. I thought I would do some more photos today, but I had way too much fun with others for that. The 2 instant photos I took will have to do as reminders for this day. So much happened today, though, and I'm afraid I will forget most of it with time. Maybe I should start a journal, like Miko? Arvo, are you there? Sorry, put down the camera and just for us looking at it. Oh, sorry, I got lost in my thoughts. I kind of forgot about taking photos today, and I worry that a few years from now I'll barely remember this day. Thought about writing a journal, but if I did, I would regret not starting it earlier. You realize that it's a cycle you never can break out of? If you kept thinking like that, you would never pick up anything new. It's never too late to start stuff, whether it's a project or learning something new. If I had the same way of thinking, I would have never started learning the guitar because being 21 was already too old to become great at that. One of my favorite jazz musicians, a pianist from Japan, taught himself how to play piano starting at age 22, and went on to record widely known records with really passionate playing from him. This is something a bit different, but still, if you're considering that, I think you should just do it. Don't try to find excuses not to do stuff because you're only fooling yourself. You're right. Yeah, I think that there was some differences. You're right, the force of habit is strong, though. That's why you should work on your habits. That's the best investment in yourself you can make. Anyway, sorry, I got a bit carried away there. Rune opens a bedside cabinet drawer and takes out 2 bananas from it, pointing them at me. You want one? That supper was tasty, but a bit too small for me. Thanks, but I'm full. I definitely don't eat as much as you do. For me, that was a big meal. That's probably true. Maybe you want some tea? Not at this hour. I'd have problems sleeping later. Pretty sensitive to caffeine. That's wise. I don't drink caffeinated teas in the evening either. However, I happen to have some Ruibos with me, and that's completely caffeine-free. Would you like a cup? Sure, or just water is enough. Why not? I don't think I ever tried it, so it will be interesting. It's a great evening drink. It's really relaxing. While Rune prepares the tea, I sit down on a chair next to the desk and check messages on my phone. I always have my notifications on mute and check the messages when I have the time, not when someone writes to me. Where are you staying tonight? You found a room? Yeah, I'm with Rune. Ha! Yeah, I can understand the shock.
Hey, Arvo, you found a room for tonight?
Miko's messages always have proper punctuation and capitalization, which is a rare thing to see. When I write with him, I do the same, otherwise it'd feel crude. Yeah, I'm staying with Rune. It takes a moment before Miko replies, but with the way he composes his messages, it's no surprise.
Okay, I'm glad. Have a good sleep, Arvo.
Meanwhile, the smell of Ruibo's tea catches my nose. It's quite unlike regular tea, heavier and earthy. Okay, done. Here's your cup. Rune puts down both cups full of steaming liquid on the desk and sits down on the bed. It'll take a while before it cools down. You want to take the shower first, or should I go ahead? I can go first. I'd definitely like to freshen up. I got quite nervous when I was playing the piano and sweated a lot. Sorry about that, Arvo. But in the end, you did very well. By the way, if you'd like to learn some guitar, how about tomorrow afternoon for a quick lesson? We'll see. I don't know how much time we will have after the trip into town. True. Well, we will see. Okay, I'll go after you. Then in the meantime, the tea will cool down. Sounds fine. I got a bathroom kit from the receptionist. But do you have a spare towel? I think so. There should be 2 in the bathroom. Both are clean, so use whichever. Okay, good to know. I fetch the bathroom kit from my camera bag where I kept it all day and go into the bathroom. This feels completely unreal. I still don't believe it's actually happening. I'm going to get into bed with Rune and sleep next to him, just the 2 of us, alone. Leaning in, I look into my own eyes. I feel so lightheaded. I press my paw against my chest. My heart is racing. Is it even possible that he is gay too? He was acting sort of flirty today on some occasions, but that must have been just playful joking, right? Right? My boxers fall to the ground. I grab the shampoo and conditioner from the bathroom kit and hop into the shower. The water is warm and pleasant. Wasting no time, I open the shampoo and start rubbing it into my fur, starting with my head. For some reason, I start to wonder what's going on in other rooms right now. Is Lake chatting with Jorgen or doing something alone? Knowing them, Lake is probably telling Jorgen some story while Jorgen only nods from time to time reading a book. I can imagine the scene vividly. Both of them on their own beds, Jorgen leaning against the wall, Lake lying on his belly and swinging his legs behind him. I wonder if Miko is working on his music, or resting already. What about Bjorn? He seemed kinda lonely today. I hope he's fine. Maybe he stayed with others after the stargazing and they're having fun together. I continue with the relaxing ritual, humming a melody from some Korean song I found on Stripify, until I'm all clean. Feeling a bit self-conscious before getting into one bed with Rune, I use almost the whole small bottle of shampoo. And then I open the conditioner and apply it generously, brushing it into my wet fur. It's unbranded, but it smells nice. Now I smell nice too. Finally, I rinse my whole body again and turn off the water. Stepping out of the shower, I notice that the mirror is all fogged up. Maybe I went a bit overboard with the water temperature. I dry myself with a fresh towel quickly before searching for my phone in my trouser pocket to check the time. Only I didn't have my phone here, I must have left it on the desk. Holding the trousers in my paw, only now I realize something. Ugh. I have to put on my dirty clothes again. I wish I at least had a fresh pair of boxers. If anything happens between me and Rune today, I hope you won't mind that. Wearing only boxers and my t-shirt for modesty, I open the door and step out of the bathroom. Rune is sitting on a chair and reading a book when I enter the room. Couldn't have been in there for too long because I see the steam still rising from the cup of rooibos standing on the desk. Next to it stands a Bluetooth speaker playing some gentle ambient music. The cold air here tickles my skin, making me shiver slightly. Hey, Arvo! Looking pretty wild with that hairdo. Shush you, I have long fur unlike you. Take some time to dry off completely. Yeah, don't envy you all the brushing. Listen to this. Rune lifts the book and starts reading from it. Like trees in winter, outside the cabin window I wither. In the world where all is known and nothing will surprise me, I suffocate. The light of the moon flickers as if trying to communicate something, but I already know what I have to do. I fold my wings and light the match. It's time to get up and move on. Not sure why, but I like that. Moon flickering? That doesn't really happen, does it? I guess we would have to ask one of our astrophysicist friends. But anyway, my turn now. Rune puts the book down and takes a small sip of rooibos before standing up and walking over to the bathroom, taking the Bluetooth speaker with him. Why don't you can just get into bed already? Oh, by the way, are you tired, Arvo? Not very. I did a lot today and didn't sleep that much, but it was the most exciting day I've had in a long time and I couldn't feel better. Great then. Okay, I'll be back in like 10 minutes. I'm unsure what to do now, so I just sit down at the desk and grab my cup. The liquid inside is dark and clear. The smell reminds me of autumn and falling leaves. I take a whiff and the smell itself sends shivers down my spine. Take a small tasting sip. It's still quite hot, but good enough to drink. It's good. Not much different than regular black tea, but without any bitterness. The music playing in the bathroom is faintly audible in the room. Muffled by the walls and flowing water, listening in, I think I can hear Rune singing with the music. The light of the moon flickers as if trying to communicate something. I lean on the desk and look out of the window, but the moon is the same as ever. Drinking the tea, I continue looking outside at the window until I finish the whole cup. The air in the room is a bit chilly and my paws are starting to get cold. Holding my phone, I get into bed, covering myself up to my neck. My phone is a low battery already. Well, it's no wonder. I'm surprised it lasted until now. I'll have to ask Rune about a charger. Hopefully he has a free one, or at least will let me use his for a while. I put the phone down on the bedside cabinet. I don't want to drain the battery further. And I'm back. Oh my. I've seen him shirtless before, but it was in an entirely different context. This time I'm in his room and he's about to get into bed with me. Oh, were you cold already? What? I left you speechless? Rune, you're not helping! You're a funny guy, Arvo. Hope you don't mind, though. I usually sleep like that and I didn't bring my pajamas with me. If that bothers you, I can put it on a t-shirt. No, it's okay. I don't mind that at all. Quite the contrary. I'm glad, then. I wouldn't want to get a good t-shirt all crumpled up. Rune puts the speaker back on the table and grabs the cup with rooibos, taking a big gulp. Still warm and tasty. Hoped we could do something more today, but it's already pretty late. Sorry, but that won't be the most exciting sleepover in your life, Arvo. Absolutely incorrect. Actually, I hope you won't notice how excited I am right now. It's hard not to stare when he just stands before me like that. I managed to sneak a peek or two in the showers, but now I dare to look at him more openly. Even from here, I can tell that he smells clean and pleasant. He must be using a jasmine-scented shampoo because that's what I can mostly smell. Despite having relatively short fur compared to me, he has a nice fluffy chest, and similarly quite a lot of fluff on his underbelly. I'd love to just press my snout against his chest and inhale his scent. Arvo? Yeah? If you like looking at me so much, maybe you'd like to feel my muscles? I gulp loudly. Oh, he can't be serious. My cheeks feel hotter than a PC, left alone to mine fluff coin. What? Yes, Arvo, the master of eloquence. Gosh, Arvo, you're so easy to tease. Although, that would certainly make for a more exciting sleepover. Come on now, we should get some rest before tomorrow. You want to read a bit or something before going to sleep? Oh, that reminds me, do you have a spare charger? I have something better. A power bank. Might come in handy tomorrow in the town. Rune takes out a power bank from the bedside cabinet drawer, already with the cable plugged in, and passes it to me. Here you are. Thanks. So anyway, I'm beat. I'll be going to sleep now. You can stay up if you want. I have a rather light sleep, unfortunately. I might wake up and start walking around the room or go out. That happens, I hope I won't wake you up, but I'll try to be quiet. I'm a heavy sleeper, so that's not a problem. I envy you, then. I haven't had a good long sleep in, well, I don't even know how long. Okay, so, good night, Arvo. Rune walks over to the light switch and turns it off, then gets into the bed next to me. To my dismay, he keeps as far from me as possible. Sad. Turns around for a while before finally finding a comfortable position. The only sound I hear now is his heavy breathing. I obviously couldn't notice that before, but all his breaths are long and deep. Good night, Rune. It's hard to be sure in an almost completely dark room, but I could swear I saw him smile. I put my head down on the pillow and just closed my eyes. But it's absolutely impossible to switch off when I'm lying next to Rune. I lift my head and look at him again. My eyes got used to darkness, so I can see him faintly in the light of the stars that blink outside the window. Looking at him like that, sleeping peacefully, I feel a longing rising in me. I want to get closer to him, not only physically. I want to get to know him and understand him. I want him to spend time with me. I want to stay up late at night and read books with him or listen to him play the guitar. I want to see him smile. I want him to turn over and snuggle me now, so I could fall asleep in his arms. If only I could reach out and touch his sleeping snout. Yeah, that's not creepy at all, Arvo. Day 2. The moon is bright today. Oddly bright for an early afternoon. It hangs in the sky like a giant clock on a perfect blue wall. When I was a kid, I imagined that the moon was a giant light bulb, its surface matted with cosmic dust, light shining from within. Sometimes I still forget it doesn't glow on its own. Just as all life on Earth, it's all the energy of the sun. The weather is perfect today. A pleasant 22 degrees, cloudless sky. The light wind carries the smell of blossoms. Springtime. Time for the Earth to wake up again from its winter slumber. I like winter too, as all the other seasons, but they all have their time, place, and purpose. The transitions between them feel especially meaningful. Winter is a time of introspection, a pause from the hectic pace of the everyday, and an opportunity for transformation. When the spring comes after, it feels like being born anew. Yet the town feels almost eerily calm today, as if nobody wanted to disturb this quiet stillness. Everything feels frozen in time, like a snapshot of reality. Celsius. He's talking about Celsius, not Fahrenheit. The only sound I hear is the rustling of leaves, and it sounds like beautiful music. Moments like this make me understand why 433 exists. I should learn to play piano. I want to learn to make beautiful sounds and weave them into the ensemble of the sounds around me. Maybe someday I could make someone happy with my playing. That would be enough to make the effort worthwhile. Maybe that person could even be a certain deer. I'm back home. The air here is much chillier, and I already miss the feeling of the sun on my face, but I'm happy to have returned. Hey, I'm back. I put the bags with groceries down to take off my shoes, and then pick them up again and move to the kitchen. Taking out items one by one, I think of all the dishes I could make with them. I can use half of the carrots, celery, and onions to make sofrito, then use sofrito in lasagna and hop and john. The rest of the carrots might go into a carrot cake or maybe into a soup. Lentils will go into a dal tadka. I can make a bigger batch over the weekend, or in the end might end up in a dansak if I feel fancy. Then I put my paw into my pocket to pull out my phone, but instead of it, my paw reaches something soft and boxy. Grab it and take it out. It's a box of matches. An oddly warm box of matches. And it's getting hotter and hotter in my grip. I'm woken up by the beeps of an electric kettle. I haven't heard my alarm yet. Either I turned it off or I slept through it. Or it's too early for it to ring, and that possibly terrifies me. Groaning, I sit up on the bed and rub my eyes. The first thing I see is an athletic deer wearing only a pair of boxers walking across the room to the window. That's not what I expected, but I'm not complaining. Although, it would have been even nicer waking up next to him. That's what I had hoped would happen. Oh, you're up, Rune. What time is it? 6:02 at the moment. That explains why it's still so dark. I set my own alarm to 6:40, just enough time to put on my clothes and brush my teeth before breakfast. But I didn't ask Rune when he wakes up. Apparently the answer is early. Too early. How was your sleep? I see you're full of energy. Oh, I feel totally dead. I didn't really sleep much. After I woke up sometime after 5 a.m., I just gave up on sleeping. That's why I'm making some matcha now, a cup that would wake up anyone. Matcha? What's that? I don't think I've ever heard the word, but I'm so sleepy that I can barely recall my own name. That's powdered green tea leaves. When you drink it, you don't just drink the extract, but whole leaves. How about you? Feeling well rested? No. I'm still internally debating on whether I want to leave the bed at all. Sorry for waking you up. Tried to keep quiet, but the kettle has no silent mode. I'm making a cup for you too, that should help. I'm rather skeptical. Honestly, a cup of coffee sounds more appealing now. Should be some at breakfast, though. Feel like I'm going to need quite a lot of it. Okay, I'm getting up. Wearing only boxers, but I don't think Rune would mind, judging by his current attire. I rub my sleepy eyes and sigh. My paw pads touch the cold floor, and I immediately feel an urge to get back into the warm bed. But, resilient, I stand up, accompanying the heroic feat of getting out of bed. Barely minutes after 6 on top of that. I can really be proud of myself. I already regret everything. Ah, come on, it's not that early. 6 in the morning is the best time to wake up. The world is so calm at that hour. And you get to see the sunrise. Would he get mad if I bonked him with something? He probably would. We're above the Arctic Circle and it's October. The sunrise is still like an hour away. Yeah, but it's about building habits. Life gets much easier once you have good habits in place, and it's almost zero effort to maintain them. Give me a moment now. The water should be cool enough now to brew matcha with. Meanwhile, I walk up to the chair on which I left my clothes last night and put on the t-shirt. Huh? What are you doing with the milk frother? Matcha needs to be whisked to mix with water properly. Speed up the process and save some money. Instead of using a chassin, I'm using a milk frother. Chassin is a delicate traditional matcha whisk. They're usually ridiculously expensive, and a simple Yukiya milk frother works just as well. I took only one chawin with me, but I'm fine drinking. But I'm fine with drinking from a cup. If it's your first time drinking matcha, then you should experience that as intended. That's nice of you. I have no idea what a chawin might be, but it's a nice gesture nevertheless. Alright, all done. Rune comes back holding cup in one paw and a weird bowl-shaped but a lot smaller vessel in the other. I'm slowly getting used to seeing Rune bare-chested and being so casual about it, but I still get a bit sheepish around him. I can only hope he's unaware of how much his presence affects me. Here you go. Whoa, this looks weird. It's very green, that's for sure. Like fresh grass or... Nope, better keep it at that. It smells sort of grassy too, although the smell isn't very strong. Don't look so worried, it's just tea. Drink a cup every morning. Wakes me up without making me all jittery like coffee does. Now without some hesitation, I grab the vessel, chawin, and take a sip of this weird liquid. And you drink this every morning, out of your own volition. The taste is strongly grassy with a slight metallic aftertaste. Thankfully, it's not too bitter, not more than regular black coffee, but it's still hard to swallow. Hey, it really works! I'm not drinking it for the taste, although I enjoy it nevertheless. It's not the highest quality matcha, but it does the job. You get used to the taste. And if you don't like it, it tastes great with just a bit of water and a lot of almond milk. And if that's not enough, adding some sugar always makes it tastier. Matcha is becoming a popular ingredient in confectionery and baking, actually. It pairs very well with some sweets. I have an idea. If they have a tea house in the town, I'm taking you there and getting you a matcha latte. That should change your mind. I've never been in one. Could be fun. Besides, I'm definitely not saying no to getting to spend more time with Rune. Would be nice, though I kinda doubt we could find one here. I'll check on the bus. If there aren't any, we'll think of something else to do. Rune takes a big sip of his matcha and licks his snout clean. Aren't you sitting down? It's getting bright outside, but this looks a bit concerning. Concerning? Sitting with my back to the window, I didn't notice anything. With the chowin in my paw, I stand up and walk up to the window, looking outside. As Rune stands beside me, his arm brushes against mine, sending a jolt of electricity down my spine. Better don't spill that. Matcha stains are hard as hell to get rid of. Yeah, I'll try. The gray, heavy sky is barely illuminated by the sun, still hidden behind the horizon. It's snowing heavily, so much that the falling lakes obscure the view on the mountains. The ground is completely covered in snow. Must have been snowing the whole night. It does look concerning. Hoped it would stop snowing and I could go for a longer walk today. This looks like enough snow to cover me up to the knees. Rune says nothing in response, still looking outside. We stand like that for a while, just sipping our matchas, watching the snowflakes dance in the Arctic wind. See, waking up so early is nice. You can take your time with everything and even find a moment to just stand at the window and look. I'm not saying it isn't. But I am saying I'm dead tired and hate everything. It can't be that bad. Matcha doesn't work as fast as coffee. Give it a few minutes. You know, I might be wrong, but something tells me getting sleep is healthier than pumping yourself full of caffeine first thing in the morning. Well, I know, but it's a bit too late for that. Do you always wake up this early? Yeah, but I usually sleep better. That's my fault, isn't it? If he's living alone, sharing a bed with someone must have felt weird for him. Hey, don't feel guilty over that. How did you... Well, you have it all written all over your face. I keep forgetting he's so perceptive. It amazes me, but it's also a bit scary. I'm not used to having people read me effortlessly like that. I often have problems sleeping, and it's a first day in a new place. Even if I was here alone, I likely wouldn't have gotten much sleep either. Besides, I've been feeling a bit anxious since yesterday evening. I didn't get a lot done, and today we have lectures that I hope to learn from. Wait a moment. What did you want to get done yesterday? Well, you know, anything. I have some papers I need to write. I have a program for a uni project I need to work on. I have the songs I'm working on, and I started writing this one thing. But you know we're on a camp, yeah? I think we're supposed to relax here. Kinda, but also not. Remember that it's a science camp. And yeah, I want to wind down and relax a bit too, but yesterday it went maybe even a bit too well. I don't know if it's possible to relax too much. By the way, you should start getting ready. Breakfast is in 15 minutes, and I'd rather not be late. Good idea. Rune goes away to the wardrobe and takes off fresh clothes while I walk over to the chair and put on the rest of my attire. Grabbing my camera bag, I suddenly get an idea. Rather stupid one, so I ask quickly before I have the time to think it through. Rune, can I take a photo of you? Rune, currently putting on a t-shirt, stops and looks at me, clearly surprised. We get an instant photo camera not long before the trip. And it's a lot of fun, but I haven't done any portraits with it yet. Maybe I shouldn't have thought it through after all. Wait. Maybe I should have thought it through after all. If you don't like the idea, then I'll just drop it. Actually, I like it, but I have one condition. I get to keep the photo. That defeats the point a bit, but I won't argue, especially since he agreed. Okay, just let me take out the camera. So it's good to be spontaneous sometimes. I open the bag and take the camera out, turn it on, and point the lens at Rune. Finding the right frame isn't hard. I only have to get a bit closer so that Rune takes up most of it. The film slides out of the camera. Grab it to put it inside the camera bag, but then I notice something at the bottom of the bag. Huh. Rune walks up to the table looking inside the bag with me. Oh. Well, that's pretty great. At the bottom of the bag, there's the key to my room. It is, yeah. I had the key with me this whole time. Why would I put the key there, though? Must have been really out of it yesterday morning. Wow, what a stupid situation. Rune, I'm sorry, I had no idea I had the key with me. Hey, it's okay. Even if you had your key, I wouldn't have had anything against letting you stay here. Well, unless you'd lied to me about losing the key. But I know you didn't. You look way too surprised for that. I really don't know what to say. Even if it was okay, I can't help but feel stupid about it. It's nice of Rune to try to cheer me up, though I was afraid he would get mad at me. Thanks, Rune. Man, I really need to work on my attentiveness. Sounds like a good idea, yeah. At least now you have your key back, along with all my stuff. I should go to my room and change into fresh clothes, but we only have a few more minutes before breakfast. Yeah, I'll go do that quickly right after. How's the photo, by the way? Oh, right, I almost forgot about it. Instant photos need a moment to develop, but maybe it's done by now. It came out nice, pretty much as I wanted. It's a shame I can't keep it, though. Nice, the angle is quite flattering. It's a good photo, Arvo. I'm not sure yet what to do with it, but it's nice to have it. But it would make for a good profile picture in a dating app. I don't like that idea, though. Rune having a profile on some dating app flirting with strangers? Why do I care this much, though? The thought makes me very uneasy for some reason. I give Rune the photo and try to shake that feeling off. Anyway, it's getting late. I'll go wash my face and we can go. Oh, you're right. I'm all ready. We can go as soon as you're done. Feeling the pressure of time and Rune's eyes on my back, I grab my toothbrush and enter the bathroom. We're gonna leave off here tonight. We gotta be quick! We gotta be quick so that way we can beat the ad. Stay safe. Have a good night. And I will see you all tomorrow.